All right. So we have some bad news. We have a little bit more bad news, and then we're gonna end this all up with some more bad news. So let's just get into it.
You want Philly food?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. The Eagles have a playoff game coming up. And the more the week goes by, the more it feels like this is just an inevitable end to the season. The Eagles are dealing with a number of injuries, which we will definitely get into. I also said on Twitter that I actually prefer Brian Johnson to come back next year, and we'll talk about why I feel like that. But before we get into all that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. We are on the road to a million, bajillion, quadrillion. Give me a higher number, and we're on the road to that. So I would really appreciate if you guys all just help me out with a like and a subscribe. Let's just get into it, man, because it is a lot to get on. It's a lot to get into. So we're going to start with the injury report. As all of you know, probably too well, the Eagles dealt with not just an embarrassing loss against the Giants, but a number of injuries against the Giants. Reed Blankenship has not practiced with a groin injury. A.J. Brown has not practiced with a knee injury. Sidney Brown has not practiced with a knee injury. And Jalen Hurts, while it says that he was limited practice, he has not thrown a football since the NFL season has ended. So it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to honestly be worried about. The Eagles cannot spare any players right now. They do have Devontae Smith coming back, which is good. They got Darius Slay coming back, which is good. DeAndre Swift looked like he's going to be a go for the game. Everything that I'm hearing with A.J. Brown is he's going to be a game-time decision. There are rumors out there that he will not play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday, which would be a huge shot in the gut for Eagles fans and the team itself. So we're going to keep an eye on A.J. Brown. Look, if we don't have A.J. Brown, Julio Jones is going to have to step up. Quez Watkins, I know everybody hates to hear that name, is going to have to step up. Olamide Zaccheaus is going to have to step up. Britton Covey probably will get some reps. So we're going to need a lot of players to step up if A.J. Brown isn't ready to go. He's a huge loss. Maybe even a bigger loss is going to be Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown. That's our two basically starting safeties. I mean, well, I know Kevin Byard is most likely going to be out there as a starter, but not having Sidney Brown, who's played a pretty big role in his rookie year so far, and obviously we know Reed Blankenship is our go-to guy. He's probably been the only consistent player on that defense, at least. So it's very worrisome to see this injury report. Like I said, with A.J. Brown, it seems like it's going to be a game-time decision. A lot of these other players, Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown, I'm assuming it's going to be a game-time decision, but we don't know yet. We will find out probably today. Today is Friday. Obviously, I'm recording this pretty early, so we'll find out today whether or not they will be a go. They might stretch it till tomorrow and let us know tomorrow, but I am a little bit worried. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't want to lose to the Buccaneers. I don't want to lose in the first round of the playoffs. I want to at least get one win under our belt, make me feel better about this season a little bit. I mean, like a smidget, especially over these past couple of months. It's just been really, really tough to be a fan of this Eagles team. But look, we're going to have to just go and see what happens. Jalen Hurts is probably my biggest worry, not throwing the football for over a week now. That's a little bit worrisome for me. I know that finger injury, he's wearing a glove, that he's most likely going to have a splint during the game. So there's going to be things that they're going to do as far as preventative measures go. But it's worrisome. The Eagles love to throw the ball, and I don't think that, this offense and offensive coaches are going to sway away from that just because he's got a hurt finger. Maybe they will. Maybe DeAndre Swift is a benefactor of this, and honestly, that might help us, if I'm being real. If DeAndre Swift, just goes out there, gets 20, 25 carries. Last time we played the Buccaneers, we ran the ball, I think, 40 times, and obviously we blew them out. So that might be the recipe for success again. And honestly, that might be the recipe for success throughout the playoffs. So I'm hoping that it's not as bad as it seems. But right now, it seems pretty bad. So I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried when it comes to these guys. We'll see what happens. Like I said, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, those are key players, key cogs to this Philadelphia Eagles team. It's going to be really, really hard to replace them. They're not only hard to replace them, it's going to be tough to really just deal with that as an emotional blow. This team, whether you like it or not, they seem like an emotional bunch. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of emotions running high and running low and running all over the place, running away from home. It just feels it feels like every time something goes wrong, I hate to say this, but it feels like every time something goes wrong, these guys just curl up in a ball. You saw what happened after the 49ers game, and I feel like this team just kind of gave up on the season after that game. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully, nothing is too worrisome. Nothing is too permanent, at least. We'll see. I think we can win the game without A.J. Brown, as crazy as that might sound, but the two starting safeties, that's going to be tough. That's going to be really, really tough. So let me know what you guys think as far as those injuries go. Do you think that it's going to be, do you think we're not going to have any of those guys? I'm hoping, and I'm holding out hope that we get those safeties going. A.J. Brown, like I said, everything I'm seeing, everything I'm hearing is going to be a game time decision. We'll see what happens with that. Now, I did say on my Twitter, if you don't follow me on Twitter, at PhillyTP, that I watched all the losses. I rewatched a bunch of the losses for the Eagles this year. And I came away saying, you know what, I would not mind if Brian Johnson retained his position for one more season. And the reason why I said that, I'm going to give you 3 reasons, okay? I'm going to give you 3 reasons. The first one is honestly pretty blatant, pretty simple, pretty easy. It's continuity. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, if we were to move on from Brian Johnson, that would be the 3rd different offensive coordinator we've had in 4 years. That's never good. You never want to see that. You want to have some type of continuity with the offense. I understand that we're not in love with the schemes right now. We're not in love with the play calling right now. And trust me, I've been one to really hammer that nail home that this has not been a good season as far as play calling, situational play calling especially. But, and this is going to be number 2, when you watch the games, if it wasn't for this offense, we wouldn't have 11 wins, if I'm being 100% honest. Was it really ugly down the stretch? Definitely. But it seemed like in big games, when it really, really mattered, our play calling was pretty darn good. If you really look at it, if you look at the Buffalo game, if you look at the Chiefs game, there were times where this offense had to go down the field, and they did. So I want to see some continuity. Obviously, consistency from Brian Johnson is going to be a big thing next year. You have to be consistent with this team. You have to go out there and have a game plan going against teams and stick to that game plan to a certain extent. I feel like there's far too many times where Brian Johnson or Nick Sirianni, whoever it is, really saying, hey, let's air it out. Sometimes they get a little bit too worried because they didn't get 10 yards on the last rush, so they just start airing the ball out. We can't see that, and I think that after one more year, an extra year of Brian Johnson, he may learn from his own mistakes, and that's something that you want to see from any coach, any offensive coach, defensive coach, head coach, whatever it is, special teams. I wanted Michael Clay out of here for the longest, and he put together a really good unit this year. So at the end of the day, I understand and trust me, I'm talking to myself here as well. I understand the gripes with Brian Johnson, but the continuity and just the consistency of having a guy like Brian Johnson is very important. And the third one is going to honestly be that we don't know who he is. I mean, if you look at his time in Florida, if you look at his time in college as an offensive coordinator, he had Dak Prescott under him. He's run some pretty intricate offenses. I find it hard to believe that he just forgot all of that. I find it hard to believe that he just lost his playbook. I go back to the water boy when he's just sitting on his playbook and crying because the other guy stole his playbook. I don't know if that's what happened to Brian Johnson, but I'm hoping not. I assume that he still has some of that, I don't want to say genius, but that football IQ under his hat. So I would not mind seeing Nick Sirianni saying, hey, I'm going to fall back, let you take care of a game plan, let you take care of drawing up plays, and see what he does. If he does well, then he does well. If he doesn't, then he doesn't. And at the end of the day, everybody's talking about the Rooney Rule, and that is something to keep an eye on. The Eagles do get 2 third-round picks if he is to be hired as a head coach anywhere. So that is, big. I mean, this year he's getting a lot of interviews, and it is because of how he can develop quarterbacks. We saw it with Jalen Hurts. So there's reasons to keep him. There are definitely reasons to move on from him if you decide to do that. And obviously, if he gets a head coaching job somewhere else, it won't really be our decision. So while I understand like I said, I understand the criticisms of Brian Johnson, and a lot of them are fair. A lot of them are deserved. It is what it is. But I want to see this team have a little bit of continuity, a little bit of consistency, and I want to see what he has. I want to see what Brian Johnson really has up his sleeve, in his pockets, whatever analogy you want to use. I want to see what he can do with this offense. We have talent. We have talent, and it feels like Jalen Hurts loves this guy. He's known him for most of his life. So that's really what I'm feeling right now. You guys let me know. I implore you guys to go rewatch some of the earlier games, even some of the losses. Watch this offense. Watch, the miscues on offense. It's not all on Brian Johnson. And I know that I've been one to really put a lot on it of it on Brian Johnson, but it's not all on Brian Johnson. There has been lack of execution from these offensive players. So they have to take some of the accountability too. We've heard from A.J. Brown that they've checked out of plays, that they've, changed the plays. Can't put that on Brian Johnson. So I want to see what happens if we give him the full autonomy of this offense, because I think it would be very interesting, and I think it would help us a lot. Now, that's all I really want to talk about. You guys let me know how you guys are feeling down in the comments. I would love to know. One last thing I do want to talk about, though, is we do still have the GoFundMe up for the Senior Bowl, for the Pro Bowl, for the draft, for the Combine. I'm going to be covering as many events as I possibly can with the money going in. My job just caught on fire 2 or 3 days ago, so it's not funny. But no one was hurt. Nothing, hopefully we'll be open pretty soon, but it did definitely take a dent to my pocket. So if you guys could help out anyway, I would definitely appreciate it. The link is going to be in the chat. The link is going to be in the description. So if you guys want to donate, I do appreciate it. Also, right below me, you will see my Cash App and my Venmo. Again, you don't have to, but if you do want to, I appreciate you so much. We are around $410 between the GoFundMe and just personal donations. So I thank everybody that's already donated. Thank you to everybody that supports this channel, because without you guys, I couldn't do any of this. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is hopefully Fly Eagles Fly. But yeah, we gonna be out here. Peace!
This is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly was flying when you on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling with Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season head, really time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning